In Luke's story of Jesus at Pilate's trial, there is a baffling sequence of events that sparks questions. Luke 23, 1-4 reads, "Then the whole body of them got up and brought him before Pilate, and they began to accuse him, saying, 'We found this man misleading our nation and forbidding to pay taxes to Caesar, and saying that he himself is Christ, a king.' So Pilate asked him, saying, 'Are you the king of the Jews?' And he answered him and said, 'It is as you say.' Then Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowds, 'I find no guilt in this man.'" Whoa, hold on. Hit rewind for a second. In Luke's account, the crowd accuses Jesus of a serious crime, claiming that he's a threat to Rome by claiming that he's a king. Pilate, the Roman governor, takes it seriously enough to ask Jesus if he's the king of the Jews. Jesus responds in a surprising way. Several English versions translate his answer a little bit differently. One version says, "It is as you say," which is like saying, "Yep, you said it," and agreeing. Another interpretation is that Jesus is vaguely refusing to answer with, "Well, you say so." Jesus' ambiguity here is pretty bold, especially given that this is a life-threatening accusation. But whether Pilate got Jesus' bold, "You're right, I'm a king," or the sly and sassy, "Hey, you said it, not me," Luke doesn't explain why Pilate suddenly declared Jesus innocent to the crowd. I mean, why not grill Jesus more here? Why did he act so nonchalant about Jesus' reply, given the gravity of the situation? And why go all the way in proclaiming Jesus guilt-free of sedition? This whole sequence of events is baffling all by itself. Well, John casually spills the beans on the other part of that story. Flipping over to John 18, we read, "Therefore Pilate entered again the praetorium and summoned Jesus and said to him, 'Are you the king of the Jews?' Jesus answered, 'Are you saying this of your own initiative? Or did others tell you this about me?' Pilate answered, 'I'm not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests delivered you to me. What have you done?' Jesus answered, 'My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I wouldn't have been handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not of this world.' Therefore Pilate said to him, 'So are you a king?' Jesus answered, 'You say correctly that I'm a king. For this I have been born, and for this I have come into the world to testify to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice.' Pilate said to him, 'What is truth?' And when he said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, 'I find no guilt in him.'" So John fills in the gaps that Luke leaves in the dialogue, but this doesn't look designed at all. According to John, Jesus does confirm that he was born to be a king, but he makes it crystal clear that his kingdom doesn't operate on the same terms as earthly ones, ruling out of the use of force to achieve his goals. Pilate seems to brush off Jesus as some harmless religious nut, leading him to confidently declare to the Jewish leaders that he finds no guilt in Jesus. But here's the kicker. In John's account, Pilate's unexpected question to Jesus about him being the king of the Jews seems to come absolutely out of nowhere. The crowds in John's gospel never accuse him of sedition. So while Luke presents the accusation, but not the full response, John offers the complete answer, but leaves out the initial accusation. It's like a narrative tag team, with each holding a crucial piece of the puzzle, but in a totally unplanned way. John probably didn't glance at Luke and go, this gap seems really odd. Let me just slip in that Jesus is a spiritual king so that Pilate knows that he's not a troublemaker, but leave out the parts about the crowd accusing him of sedition. The apparent casualness in the sources, not aiming to reference or complement one another, serves as a marker of truth. These subtle, unnoticed, undesigned coincidences defy the intentions of a faker. But wait a second, because once again, there's more here. John 18:10 reveals that Peter sliced off the ear of the high priest's servant. However, remember in John 18:36 that Jesus tells Pilate, "If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would have been fighting." Whoa. Seriously? Doesn't cutting off someone's ear with a sword count as fighting Jesus? The plot twist comes in Luke 22:51, where Jesus, intervening in the violence, says, "No more of this." He then touches the wounded servant's ear, healing him. This twist in the tale means Peter couldn't be nabbed for the assault, and Jesus' claim holds firm without contradiction because there's just no lingering physical proof of the skirmish. But get this, John completely skips over the point where Jesus heals the guy's ear, so he's probably not throwing in this detail about his followers being ready to fight based on Luke. And obviously, Luke couldn't know what John would explain later, nor could he have deliberately set up something to be an explanation of something in John's Gospel. In genuine, detailed accounts of real events, told by folks who actually knew their stuff, we'd naturally anticipate this kind of interlocking info. Despite skeptics' strong protests that the Gospels are just fiction, this doesn't read like fiction at all. I hope you've been enjoying this series on undesigned coincidences. I'll have even more Gospel examples in coming episodes, and we'll eventually even dig into the Old Testament and find a few undesigned coincidences there. So be sure to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.